Sometimes when I'm thinking about us, before we got lost and we parted, back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight, this time we're not safe and sound. Not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. Sometimes when I'm reasoning about us, I know you got me, it's so effortless. Back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight, this time we're not safe and sound. Not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me?
Welcome, everybody, to the FPV News. Oh, and welcome to us, Blunty. We're going to do it
Yeah.
again.
We're gonna do it again. That's true. We're back for another Tuesday, where we do some news type stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna put our feet in the drama today. We're gonna stir the muck, the MEPSKING drama, in a professional, journalistic, newsworthy. Got my Tom Brokaw voice on.
Okay. All right.
I don't know about that. Oh, thank you guys for being here. We will be bringing you up to speed. We got some info about a bug with WTFOS that can cause your goggles to reboot while you're flying. Yeah. Well, WTFOS was like, well, we only have 12 verified cases of this. And then people started, it feels like there's more than 12. But, you know.
Yeah,
we'll let you
or
know
there's a
about
lot
that.
of reasons the goggles go black.
Yeah, maybe there's other problems that we don't know about. True,
Yeah.
valid.
We've also got rumors about a new Insta360 camera. We saw a video come out from them today, and in 7 days we get a new camera launching.
Yeah, and a new video transmitter from Caddx that's supposed to have a long-awaited feature that professionals have been begging for that could really change how Caddx or Walksnail is positioned in the market. We got all of that stuff coming up for you, but we're going to start, as we always do, with the public service announcements, little things that affect some of you in very, very serious ways. While everybody trickles into the stream and gets started, we'll get these out of the way. And we only have one this week.
Yeah, and our only one is the one we mentioned just a minute ago. The WTFOS team has released an update, and that update fixes a restart bug that is supposedly rare but can happen on your goggles due to WTFOS. So all you got to know basically is go there and update. If you haven't updated in the last, I would say like 6 or 7 days, you need to go update.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and update and avoid any of those bugs.
Yeah, the effect of the bug is, it's really weird because they said the goggles reboot, but it's not a full power cycle. What actually happens is that the user interface process crashes, which means that your screen goes black for about 5 to 10 seconds, completely black. The menus are gone, everything's gone, not just the video link, and then comes back. And if you're still flying, you're good to go. But yeah. And as you told me just before we got started tonight, Blunty, they released a statement and they said, hey, go update. And was it today when Jonas talked to you?
Yeah, it shouldn't really affect anybody, but there's another update that makes updating a little bit easier. So
okay, so if they updated like 4 days ago,
they're
then
fine. No
they're
problems.
fine. The bug is fixed. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So if you haven't updated your WTF, and by the way, if you're running an O3 air unit, if you're running Goggles 2 or Integra, this doesn't affect you. This is for people.
If you're only running those,
right.
Yeah.
You have to be running a Vista or original air unit or RunCam Link that you rooted with the V2 goggles or the V1 goggles. This affects you, and you need to. Mark H wants to know: do you update just the goggle or the Vista and the air unit as well? I mean, as long as
Just
you're
the
updating,
goggle.
you may as well update. But
Yeah, as far as I know, the blackout is just in the goggles. Yeah.
Okay. So you should be doing that anyway. But here's your sign from God. You need to go ahead and update. Do we know if it's V2 and V1 or just V2?
I think it's anybody with goggles that have WTFOS on them. You need to go update.
Okay, there you go. Just go do it.
Yeah.
Just go do it. Okay. Well, then, that's our public service announcements. Now we get on to the news, the serious news. And there's a story that's been floating around out there for a long time, Blunty, and I have not touched on it because a lot of times my first reaction to drama, believe it or not, is just to say, we don't need to amplify this. And I'm not a person, despite what some people have said about me in the past, who makes content about drama just for the clicks. The only time I will put my will make sort of dramatic content is when I feel like, well, sometimes I feel like I have something unique to add to it for the perspective, and sometimes I feel like it reaches sort of a boil. It comes to a head and a point where it has to be addressed. And that's where I'm at with this MEPSKING situation. So first of all, for those who don't know, who's MEPSKING?
MEPSKING is a motor manufacturer. That's about all I know about them. And I think they make flight controllers and stuff too. They kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. So they make
there
motors.
There are claims that they're the company SZ Speed, but I can't find any link to that actually.
And it's very difficult to know for sure because these Chinese companies, they come out of nowhere. Sometimes it's like the same guy that started another company, but kind of nobody, at least over here in the West, nobody's really aware a lot of times of who these guys are. And so chances that it's just a out of the blue company are probably small, but who knows? We don't know their provenance. But what makes them stand out is that I started seeing people talking about the contract that they were giving to their influencers. So they were sending motors, and they were sending motors to like everybody, like all kinds of people with 1,000 subscribers, which is, I mean, that's, congratulations, you got 1,000 subscribers. That's an accomplishment, legit. But also when it comes to just here's product to review, that's a smaller number, but I see a ton of people getting them. And Darren Allett reached out to me. We will not be doxing Darren Allett today, like I did on my live stream yesterday. Oops, we have sanitized this stuff. And he showed the contract that they sent, which is pretty out there. Pretty out there.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically we got that contract here, but the main thing is the terms. You know, so party A is obviously MEPSKING, and party B is the person who's doing the review. And basically they say, you know, party B should follow a schedule and script arranged by MEPSKING. You should provide unlisted videos and pictures to them before release. They will require modification of the video if they need to for better promotion purposes. You cannot post a video without their confirmation, reveal any information about the product before that video goes up. You cannot damage the reputation of their product. They own the rights to your video, and if you violate any terms, they will not pay you. However, in this case, it's just motors, so they're already paid out.
Right.
But yeah, this is not something we've ever seen in FPV, and you rarely see in any products. Asus got in a bunch of trouble for doing something like this.
Right.
Like basically forcing good reviews for product.
Yeah. And like, I know that there's channels like Linus Tech Tips who makes a distinction between a product review and a product showcase. And a product showcase means we tell you up at the front, this is a showcase. And that means that we got paid to basically repeat the manufacturer's party line about this product. And you know that this is not us at our sort of critical best. But we don't even see distinctions like that. It seems from the reading of these terms that MEPSKING is going to... I mean, it seems like they're asking for a showcase, but in a lot of cases it's being presented as a review without the explicit disclosure of terms at the beginning. And if somebody is going to make a video and they're going to say at the beginning, hi, I am being paid to say this. I will not be saying bad things about this. If you still want to keep watching, but by all means, hey, I don't begrudge you that, you know, get your bag. But these reviews... Not really reviews in any legitimate sense, assuming that MEPSKING made all the reviewers sign this contract, which I think is a pretty safe assumption.
Yeah, we don't know for sure, but it does seem to track that if the larger creators receive these contracts, you know, then obviously the smaller creators would have received a contract that's the same or worse to get a same or smaller amount of motors. You would assume.
Now, there's a topic going on in the chat that I feel like we have to address, even though I don't think it's actually the main thrust of this story, and that is that Chris Rosser did a test of MEPSKING motor, and people are questioning whether Chris Rosser can be trusted or whether he signed this contract, and Chris actually released a video talking about this, saying, "I have a standing policy that anyone who sends me a motor, I will test it, and I will publish the results." And he explicitly said, I did not sign any contract. I did not. The results are what they are. So I think that I feel like I want to. Yeah.
That does track, because the other thing that will come up as we go through their official statement is FlyHigh FPV kind of got into it with them on social media. We're not going to go too deep into that, but they kind of went back and forth, and FlyHigh says basically the same thing. He refused to do the contract, but because he has a store, they said, okay, we'll send you the motors anyway, so you can see if you want to stock them. You know, so he wasn't under contract when he got, you know, those motors as well. So there's definitely ways they're sending people these without contracts. So I don't. Also, there's no reason for Chris Rosser to get on and lie about this stuff.
Oh,
like,
God.
it makes no sense. So I think we could be pretty clear that he did not sign a contract with MEPSKING.
Yeah, obviously, you know, Chris Rosser could just be lying to us all. We don't know for a fact, but realistically, what's his motivation here? People are like, well, did he have affiliate links? Did he? I mean, even if he did. I mean, like, look at him. Look at Chris Rosser. Does he look like a dude who is going to scheme and lie and misrepresent data just to make a tiny amount of money? Or does he look like the kind of guy who will, no, I just put it on the stand and I tested it. Like just watch his content and feel who he is as a person. And, you know, obviously there's nothing shady about Chris's testing. There's more about MEPSKING than just their sleazy reviewer contracts, though. There's their blog.
Yeah, so one of the things when you go through MEPSKING and try to kind of suss out what's going on is you notice that they have a blog. And they do quote unquote helpful articles.
Look at this great article
about
this
how
is great
to
content.
Do stuff. Some of it's outdated, but some of it at least tells you information, describes what you want to do, and that kind of thing.
Look at this. How to choose a drone motor. great
Yeah, so they've
content.
got
Oh, man.
different articles and things that are on there. But there's two different kinds of articles on there, unfortunately. One, which we've shown so far, are essentially directly lifted articles from other websites.
Yes. So
now, of course, we
put them
can't
side by
verify
side.
for we can't verify for sure that these are lifted without the permission of the creator, but we would guess that that is the case. And you'll just see for most of these articles that
it's
you
just a direct quote.
Yeah, except they've replaced anywhere they've got a different motor with a MEPSKING motor.
Oh. So as you said, Blunty, we don't know for sure that MEPSKING didn't reach out to the author of this article and say, hey, can we license this article from you?
Yeah, there is no attribution.
There is no attribution.
Yeah.
And it seems like a reasonable guess that they just... Here's another one. How to choose a drone motor. It seems like a reasonable guess that they just ripped this stuff off, right?
Yeah, and yeah, for the next one, they've actually, it looks like they pulled sections from two different articles and kind of jammed them together. So we've got one LinkedIn article from a guy with some general info that they pasted, and then another article from another website that's got more details that they've pasted in under that. But the other kind of article they have is if you skip down to the best FPV simulators article.
Oh, we made a video like this.
We did, and I fully expected to see some rip of our transcript or something here. But instead, what I found was that they seem to have generated this article with AI. That's what I'm going to guess anyway. Because if you start to read through this article and other articles on the website that have not been plagiarized, you find out that instead, they just don't make a lot of sense. So you go, okay, DRL simulator, liftoff, Velocidrone, those are all sims.
Wait.
Maybe they just feel those ways about it. But then we get down to Beta Flight Simulator.
Beta Flight Simulator. Haven't you heard of that?
Yeah. Also, obviously, in an FPV sim, we're also getting Real Flight, Phoenix RC, Aerosim. And you could just read through the comments about them. They're all generally the same information.
Yeah.
They say the same things. If they require a fee, they say they require a fee. And they've got a list of them, They literally list Betaflight Simulator, download at Betaflight releases. Like they're talking about the firmware for the flight controller.
So we've got... what we've got here is lazy marketing and sleazy marketing. And that left MEPSKING, left me with a kind of a bad taste in my mouth. But my approach until now has been that I will simply not review this product. Maybe it's a good product, I have no idea, but I'm not going to touch it because the minute I put out a review of a MEPSKING motor, and I love reviewing motors, by the way, Blunty, you and I both, big fans of motor reviews. The minute I do that, I will immediately be tainted by this nonsense. And that was where it sat until FlyHigh FPV got into a giant kerfuffle with them. And as you said, Blunty, they sent him some motors because FlyHigh has a store, and he made some posts talking about how unimpressed he was with the motors, and then they felt the need to defend themselves. And we're not going to get into the he said, she said. I feel like that's just he said, she said drama, and there isn't really any... Everybody can go read that if they want to. But FlyHigh or MEPSKING made a response, and I feel like their official statement is newsworthy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. So they posted an official statement about that situation, and then some of the other comments that were kind of going around. So they described the relationship. They described the relationship with FlyHigh. Say, talked about. Basically, they were surprised to see that he was, talking trash about their motors. He said, basically, they say, you should have contacted us instead of blasting us on social media about how bad our motors were.
Like,
we hope to resolve any potential differences through active communication and collaboration and continue to deliver better product experiences. We value the positive relationship.
Except we have seen, except that's bullshit because we have seen a contract you do with reviewers, influencers, where you say, you will not release this video until we approve it. And we have the right to demand changes and basically read this script about how great we are in exchange for frickin' 4 motors. Give me a break. So this all this nonsense about, we respect free speech and blah, blah, blah. No, there are manufacturers out there who say, look, we're going to send you a product. We hope that if you have problems, you'll come to us first. You'll give us a chance to resolve the problem and at least give us feedback and let us reply. But that's the extent where I feel like it's sort of ethical for a manufacturer to say, before you blast us on social media, at least let us know it's coming. That's courteous. Sure. But to say, we prohibit you from blasting us.
Right. And then also, just we have to note that they did, I mean, this is a written article typed up in a blog. And when they originally posted this, they posted FlyHigh's personal information on their website.
Yeah, right. I'm glad. I was worried we were going to disclose it. In the original version, this stuff contained his address and phone number and everything. So they doxed him.
If you scroll up, it's blurred there. Yes. Yeah. They've got it. That originally was not blurred in the original post. So it feels like we should mention that. Because, I mean, I will say, you mentioned that you accidentally doxed Darren Allett showing a thing yesterday. But there's a difference between a second or two on a video and a formed blog post where you've taken screenshots, formed them up, posted them, and gone
live
through whatever team. Right.
And I was showing Darren Allett. By the way, I apologize to Darren. For those who are keeping track, I contacted Darren Allett today. I notified him that I'd done it. I apologized to him. I don't know if I actually apologized. So maybe I should. Maybe I owe him an apology in addition to just a notification. But I was showing his contract that he gave me with the intent of it being shown. And I was scrolling through the doc, and whoops, his address scrolled on screen briefly, and I hadn't realized it was going to be there. And then I blurred the video, and it's gone now. But for a blog post, I mean, I guess mistakes happen. I guess I can't really say mistakes don't happen.
Yeah, I think mistakes happen, but it does seem a little rough to have that in a blog post. That's not, you're going to see it more than a second, and you've got time to notice. But regardless, the part you mentioned, I think, specifically they address that here. Our collaboration with influencers is entirely voluntary, without any coercion or benefit conveyance. This is translated probably, or somebody who speaks both, Chinese and English, I would guess. But that's a real funny wording.
No coercion. No coercion, everybody. Not any coercion. Nope, not at all.
Yeah.
No coercion. No benefit conveyance. Well, the motors are the benefit. Yeah. It's nonsense. So when I would say, whenever you see positive reviews of MEPSKING products from anybody but Chris Rosser, no, I don't know, you should at least ask, hey, is this a sincere review, or did MEPSKING say no, you can't say negative stuff?
Yeah, can you disclose your relationship with MEPSKING, and are you allowed to say whatever you want about MEPSKING? Something like that, I
mean, I would be suspicious of, I'm granting Chris Rosser the benefit of the doubt because I feel like I know his history and I know him. And
he also directly addressed it. I mean, that's part of what we're asking, right? Is we just, you should say your relationship with them, and if you want to lie or not, whatever. But I think
anybody who says they signed that contract is like, all right, well, your review, just don't publish you don't publish the review and don't sign that contract. That's the thing. That's the thing. So many people are hungry enough for a set of motors. Cool, I get it. I mean, it's $80 or $100 worth of gear. If you're trying to build quadcopters, it's not nothing. I don't begrudge you that, but you're so hungry for that set of motors that you're willing to completely sign away your integrity as a reviewer. The least you can do is start the video by saying, this is a product showcase, not a review. I signed this agreement with MEPSKING, and now I'm going to tell you about their motors. But no one is doing that. I mean, I haven't watched every video about MEPSKING, but I would wager no one's doing that. And that doesn't speak well of MEPSKING, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. Their responses have also not been great.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
I just think in general, we don't want to get too in the weeds with it, but I think, just in general on social media, there have been a lot of replies to Instagram posts and other places where they're responding in bulk.
Right.
And that's not really the way you handle a business. At least that's not the way, anybody who is respected in this industry or anywhere else runs a business.
Yeah.
You don't beleaguer the people who are saying things. You just say, sorry, you felt that way, blah, blah, blah. You don't
attack people.
You don't attack people as a business. Like, that's not a way to run a business. That would be my opinion.
In this video, this MEPSKING representative tries to argue that a Unibel can have a split sidewall that is separate from the top. Because one of the things FlyHigh said was that the Unibel motors weren't actually Unibels. And he tried to argue that a Unibel, it doesn't have to be one piece. That it can be, it has to do with the way the sidewall covers the flux ring, which of course
so it's
is
not clear.
Total nonsense.
Well, it's not total nonsense, right? Because there are two pieces inside of a bell, right? Like, you slide a ring into a completed Unibel that you cast, right?
Well, you don't cast, you mill it. It's milled.
Mill it, okay. Yeah.
It's not cast. But you would start with a billet of aluminum, you would mill it away. So
they're claiming that top piece, I would guess they're claiming that top whole piece is a billet of aluminum.
Yeah, this looks like a Unibel to me.
Yeah.
So this it looks like a single piece. It does not look like, unless this gray part is some kind of adhesive gluing it together. Like, it's really hard to tell, but if you listen to what the guy is saying here, it seems like they're saying that a Unibel, it doesn't have to be one single piece, which is nonsense.
I think, right, but I think what my devil's advocate of this is he's trying to explain to people who are pulling out the flux ring and saying it's not a Unibel that it actually is a Unibel because you're just pulling out the flux ring.
He's trying to say, when he says one piece, he doesn't mean, wait. He doesn't mean the sidewall versus the top. He means the inner flux ring versus the outer wall.
That's my understanding.
I see. Yes. Okay. I hereby give this point back to MEPSKING. It's not as ludicrous as it seemed at first. Yeah, for the longest time, I didn't realize that Unibel motors had a steel flux ring inside them.
So now, but there was another thing I was telling you, which is there's image showing that they're not Unibel, which is the thing that Stevietrix just posted if you want to post that, which for some reason, when we look inside of the other ring, you can see that it looks like there's a seam in there. Maybe it's a weld ring or something. But what it actually looks like is there's a separate piece there. Like, you could see that blue fold back from the top of that.
Oh, interesting. No, that doesn't seem to be a Unibel, does it?
Right.
Otherwise, that separation of metal wouldn't exist. Unless
you'd be bending the metal in. But yeah, FlyHigh is saying that pulled away. I mean, you can see a little bit of a gap there.
No, that doesn't look like a Unibel. But this could be a Unibel. It's hard to tell exactly how this sidewall is joined. Just because there is an inner flux ring and magnets does not mean that it's not a Unibel. All motors are like that. They all have a flux ring.
And it's possible the gray at the top is glue or something and not like a seam. Yeah.
They might not be Unibels. Anyway, let's we've like a half hour on this one story. We've had a lot of fun with this. The takeaway for me is MEPSKING, shady marketing, motors. Frankly, the other thing is I looked up the price of their motors, and their motors are like $20, $21, but they sell direct. They sell direct. Right. They don't sell through stores. So that is a $25 or $30 motor when you add in retail margin, or it should be a $12 or $15 motor if you're selling direct. So you're paying the profit margin. They do not look like ultra premium motors just looking at them.
Right.
So MEPSKING is cleaning up on this, and I just think you should buy different motors for various reasons.
Yeah.
I think they're overpriced for what they are. The company is shady. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I would say if they were good motors, I think they'd be worth buying, but I don't know that they're good enough in the way that $20 worth, right? Like, there's no reason to buy a $20 motor.
A $14 Emax Eco.
Right.
Or I can buy a $22 Zing motor.
Zing. Yeah.
Right, which is a spectacular motor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't buy MEPSKING motors that's my takeaway. Yeah. It's too much bullshit. Too much bullshit. All right. Okay, that's our first big story.
Yes.
Touching on the drama. Okay.
And next up, we've got something that'll be interesting for the people who are following the action cam market. If you are, you might have already seen this. But this is going to be pretty big for people, I think. So we got a teaser video. Pretty big. Insta360 has released a new video of their new camera coming out. And boy, it sure does seem like the Insta360 Go 3.
Great. Yeah, Insta360 Go. Fun little camera.
Yeah.
I guess it's supposed to be thumb-sized.
Yeah, so there's a couple pieces here. So you can see behind it, there's this, well, it looks like a box. Maybe it's just they're teasing that it's differently sized, right?
A battery, maybe it's the battery indicator.
Right, but we have another video by this guy, 360V Rumors, who has an NDA on the camera, but he discussed a little bit in the video about it, and he says that, number one, you should pay attention to the thumb, because the thumb is indicating what you think it's indicating. He can't say it. But to me, that is obviously indicating that's another Go. That's a Go 3.
Right, the size of the camera and the shape of the camera.
Right. But he also says all the jump cuts and weirdness are not anything. They're not like a feature. But this part is. He says this part is the part you should pay attention to for the new feature of the Insta360.
So the case has a screen that lets you review the footage.
My guess is, yes,
that's what it looks like.
That would be my guess. Yeah, it looks like there's some kind of case, and then the case has a screen on the side, and that's going to let you review footage, check things, maybe even wirelessly connect to it. Because it does remind me kind of the Insta360 Go case.
Oh,
like the top would
what
fold
if it
up.
had like Wi-Fi connection so you could use it as a viewer without having to pull your phone out?
Right.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what I would think. So obviously I don't actually know that. All I know is in the video. So if anybody thinks we're hinting, we don't actually have information.
Okay. Well, that's very exciting. Insta360 Go, a very nice camera for people, especially down in the 2-inch, 2.5-inch class. Even some people putting them on tiny whoops. It's a solid camera. If you need, it's because it's only like 18, 19 grams, whatever. And it doesn't have great image quality, but for 19 grams, it does pretty good.
Yeah, and we don't know the specs of the new one. So if you're trying to think about it in one of these kind of style cameras, maybe wait 7 days. June 27th is when it comes out, and we'll be able to see those specs, and you'll know if it's worth getting and where the price is, and maybe the old models will come down, stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, before we go on to the next story, let me get this super chat from Matt Sanders out of the way. He left it during the beginning of the one story, and I didn't want to interrupt. We normally save super chats for later in the stream, but it's a $50 super chat. Matt Sanders, big round of applause for you. Thank you for that incredible generosity. That's a big donation, and I really appreciate it. Okay, well, we got one more piece of news about not a camera, but about a video transmitter.
Yeah, about a video transmitter from Caddx.
Walksnail.
And as we know, it's Walksnail. Right. Caddx is putting out a new VTX board, and they're teasing some features of it. And one of them has been a directly requested feature by quite a few people, and we've heard rumors about it coming. I have heard rumors about it coming, and now it has shown up on the list. So they say this will have HDMI input on the VTX. So you can, presumably, that means you could plug an HDMI input into the VTX somehow, wire it up somehow, and then transmit that HD over Walksnail's link, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, this is huge it's huge for a lot of people, but it's huge for professionals, because professionals often want to retransmit the signal from like a cinema camera. And so like the pros would really like it to have SDI input, which a lot of people maybe don't even know what SDI is a video format like HDMI, but used by professionals, I guess is a good way to put it. But HDMI input means that most any camera, you will be able to feed the signal into it and rebroadcast that, which is extremely exciting.
I would argue this was like the original promise of Walksnail. This was like, DJI isn't going to do this stuff for you, right?
That's right.
Like DJI will never do this for you. Like, so you could beg for 1,000,000 years and you're not going to get this, along with what they say, internet input. Not sure what that really means, but BT656 means thermal imaging is also directly supported. It's just stuff you're not going to see unless DJI was making a drone that needed this. Right. You wouldn't see it coming in your area.
DJI has their whatever $5,000 wireless video link system that you can plug. I assume it takes HDMI. I don't even know. Right. So DJI has a solution for this, but it's this big, dedicated, over the top. It's an incredible system.
Yeah.
But the ability to take a Walksnail VTX and a Walksnail set of goggles and feed any HDMI signal I mean, obviously a lot remains to be seen. But Walksnail has one thing going. They know what features we want, and they know to say that they're going to do them. And then sometimes they actually do them, and it's really exciting.
Yeah.
The thermal imaging is interesting. That is something that I think most hobbyists don't really care about, and a lot of professionals don't really care about, but you know who does care about it?
Yeah, the cops.
The cops, the military.
Yeah.
And right
Search and
now,
rescue.
there is search and rescue. Yes, rescuing those dogs. That's what we're going to talk. What we're going to focus on. Right now, anybody who needs thermal imaging either is buying like the dedicated DJI drone with the thermal camera. I don't remember what model it is, or they're doing analog. So like a FLIR boson camera can output an analog signal that'll go through an analog VTX, but analog sucks, and digital is better. So right now, there isn't really any digital solution for thermal imaging. And if they deliver on this, that is also going to fit in somewhere where no one else is. So it's very exciting.
Yeah. Very exciting.
I mean,
we'll see.
They have to actually deliver the product. So
Correct. Yeah, they do. It is just an ad. We'll have to see how it comes out, what the firmware looks like, how it performs, all those kind of things. You know,
Right.
Are there weird HDMI handshake issues and
HDMI
is the
input lag.
Connector strange problems, right? Input lag. I mean, there's 100 things that could go wrong here, obviously. But yeah, I mean, this is again what we were hoping for, and this is what Walksnail can do for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, yeah, we see more of this, and this goes well.
All right. Great. Next up, it is time for us to plug ourselves, to do plugs.
Sure.
Let's start with your website, Blunty. We'll get
Open
back
up
to
the
the
old
news.
plug bag.
Yeah, the bag of plugs.
If anybody knows that reference, I'll give you a thumbs up. All right.
I don't know that reference. First up, we've got ItsBlunty.com. And the main thing you can do at ItsBlunty.com is sign up to get help from Blunty. For $50 an hour, Blunty will get on the phone with you, one-on-one, walk you through solving your problems. Extremely reasonable rate and extremely smart guy. Head on over to ItsBlunty.com if you need that one-on-one assistance.
Yeah, we've also got FPVKnowItAll.com, which is Joshua Bardwell's website, your website, where you can find the ultimate FPV shopping list. And you can figure out what you need to buy if you're trying to figure it out. Maybe you don't know how to pick a charger. You can just pop on over to this website, and you get a list of chargers, different prices, different categories, and figure out what you need.
Yep. Anytime you're wondering what I would recommend, this is where I put all the stuff that I recommend. We also have Joshua Bardwell Livestream Clips, which is my Livestream Clips channel, run by Blunty. He cuts the highlights out of my live streams, creates beautiful thumbnails and titles so you can get the best of the live stream content if you're not able to watch the whole live stream. And also helpful if you're like, hey, what was that thing? I remember that time when Bardwell talked about such and such. I can't find it. What day was that? Well, chances are it's a clip. And you can find it over here on the Livestream Clips channel. So we'd love to have you. We just crossed over 10,000 subscribers, and we'd love to have you as a subscriber if you are not already a subscriber. And last up, searchfpv.com. Searchfpv.com is a multi-store FPV search engine. You can pick your region. Let's just pick the world, the entire world. And you can search for things that are only in stock. No results found. And then you can search for whatever it is you're looking for. Let's see. Who's carrying the DJI Integra goggles? Let's find out. And it just really helps you comparison shop and find out who's got what in stock. Searchfpv.com. Nobody. We just have unrelated search results. Well, now I know. No one has the DJI Integra goggles except DJI. Good to know. Nope. Okay. Well, a negative result is still a result. And those are our plugs.
Those are our plugs. Quite a few people in chat knew the reference, so good job, guys.
Was it Comedy Bang Bang?
Yeah.
Oh, I have watched Comedy Bang Bang. I respect.
That's not the TV show. It's the podcast.
Oh, what it was a TV show too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
A bastardized version of the show, I would say, but yes.
I did watch the show. I never listened to the podcast. Maybe I should.
And yeah, I listened to the podcast since it was Comedy Death Ray that they were doing on a stage somewhere. That's a great show. So anyway.
One IFPV says, open any random live stream video from JB, 99% guarantee there will be DJI talk in the first 10 minutes. Okay, first of all, DJI is like half of our market. So God forbid you talk about it. But that's not even true. Okay, technically we talked about WTFOS, which is DJI related. Fuck, I was about to say. We just spent a half hour talking about MEPSKING.
True. What do you want? What do you want?
Talk about DJI. I want everyone to be happy and love me all the time. And have no complaints. Is that too much to ask?
All right. I don't know. Maybe.
Or
as a content creator? Yes.
Damn it. All right, well, let's talk about events.
All right. The only event we have this week, don't forget, if you have an event, you can send it in to news@fpvknowitall.com, and we'll be glad to share your event. But the event we're talking about today is Woodstopia, and you might be like, I thought it was Whooptopia, and it is. This is different. So this is Whooptopia's also putting on a new thing called Woodstopia. You're going to go out in the woods in Phoenix, Arizona. Outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, and go hang out and do some spec racing. So there's going to be open class, Freedom Spec, and Street League spec races there, and a fun weekend to fly.
I thought Arizona was just, I didn't know they had woods. I thought Arizona was just like desert.
I think, I don't know. I think some of it's woods.
I guess so. All right, fair enough.
Presumably, that's the...
There's another event happening next week that you didn't put on the schedule.
Yeah, because we have talked about it before, and I'm sure everybody who knows is already going. And that would be multi-GP IO, right?
If we don't cover it, then it's going to look like we're out of touch and or snubbing them.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, remember what we were just talking about being a content creator and everyone liking you? And how that's impossible?
Right, but that's not my goal.
People will... Oh, no? Oh.
You're correct. Yeah. Different goals.
Right, I believe that. Another event that's happening next week. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. There's this little racing league called Multigup. It's the Multigup.
EO?
Uh-huh. It's the Multicupio. The Multicupio 2023 is going to be happening next week. Team Black Sheep still exist. Interesting.
Sure.
Hadn't heard from them in a while. Guess they're still sponsoring IO. Good. And I guess they're gonna have some drone racing. Look at this, but this is completely unrealistic. Look how far forward. Whoever made this graphic needs to learn about drones because, first of all, 2-blade propellers are more efficient than 3-blade, so nobody's using 3-blade. And this drone has an unrealistic amount of up tilt angle, and I don't know why you put this little hat on it just to look cool, but drones don't do that. So, nevertheless, this event will be happening next week. The biggest FPV party on Earth. Citation needed. Am I right? Citation needed. Biggest in terms of what? Population? Square footage? You don't even say your units, my goodness. You can get tickets and go if you're into that kind of thing. There you go. See? We could have... Now, isn't it better that we did that?
Yes. All right. Fair enough.
All joking. IO is great. I'm just teasing because you guys were like, oh, yeah, IO is happening. You knew IO was happening.
I did. I just didn't think it was relevant to talk about, but fair enough.
Oh, whoa, you're making it worse. You have to...
I don't...
You're making it worse. Let's move on.
Okay. All right.
My community spotlight. There we go.
We've got a cinematic... Oh, yeah. Community spotlight.
Wait. Did you just do things out of order? Were you so flustered you almost went out of order? Yeah! After all these years.
All right. That's true.
Okay, go ahead.
But all right, next up, community spotlight. We've got another AI video, and this one's kind of neat. So we've seen a couple videos similar to this, I believe, made in a similar program. But this one is interesting because obviously we can't play the audio, unfortunately, but the video is themed to the audio. So he's put in different sections that match up to the lyrics in the song. Neat. So they talk about animals and jungle, and he's showing that, and then he goes to to like blood. They talk about blood in the song, and like it basically has all kinds of different. The AI kind of matches up with the song lyrics.
Cool. So we've got links down in the video description, of course, and we always like to send the views. We don't want to take views from the original creator. We want to highlight them and pump them up. So we're not going to play this music to avoid any copyright issues, but also so that if you're going, geez, that looks cool, I really want to hear the music. Here, wait, ready? Okay, that's all you get. You got to get on over to the link in the video description and give your views to RobGroove. Have we seen this actual flight before? Have we seen this location before? It feels familiar.
I don't think so.
The Parthenon. Maybe I have. I don't know. But it's a cool video, and you should definitely go check it out. We also have the cinematic of... Oh, Jesus. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We're really... Wait, can we even show this footage? This video. I feel like the video alone is going to get us...
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's sort of where I was going to go with that. So I'm not 100% sure. Because he got the rights to put up the video, but I don't know how that works.
I mean, I think that the studio will probably shut this down.
I would imagine so.
Unfortunately, we can't show you this footage except to click through it slowly and tell you that Johnny FPV has leveled up. This time he's flying a gimbal drone. So like some of these shots, I was watching the camera movement versus the drone movement going, oh, that's a gimbal. But Johnny only flies FPV. Well, not anymore. Johnny FPV has done some shots for the next Fast and Furious movie, and they're freaking badass and 1,000% worth checking out. 1,000%. Link in the video description. You gotta see this. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, he says he used the Warp Cam camera, which is a company that helped him with a gimbaled camera system he could fit on the drone.
Like, how close he gets in some of these shots is extraordinary. Like, he just really tucks in there. He's crazy good. I like they got these shots with this ball rolling down the street. Everything. Yeah, it's amazing. I wish we could show it to you, but I guarantee you that the studio, a major Hollywood studio, will just copy strike us or whatever, and we're not going to do that. So instead, let's show a video we can show.
Yeah, and we can even play the music, which is pretty rare.
Got a little oneer here.
Let's go, boys. Smoke joint.
Engine 1. Battalion 1. Respond emergency. Structure fire. High risk.
Nice flying.
03
Ooh,
Avenue.
nice. Wait, where are we going? Was that a cut? Was that a hidden cut? Might have been. I feel like they would be in more of a hurry.
I spotted the hydrant. We need to take the ladder. Secure the Ram XD.
Very nice. Beautiful. 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 Beautiful
yeah, pretty
work.
cool shot there.
From Lumera Productions Aerial, only 100 subscribers. Let's go give them some subs. Really nice work. Very smooth, very tasteful. Told a story. I love in these one-shots how they sort of plan out the narrative and tell a story and follow the story through the environment. And it was extreme. Yeah. Like, so much of the work in these oneers is done before you ever pick up the controller. And it really shows here. That was a really well done oneer.
Yeah, I thought this one was especially cool just because we got to see like, oh, they're scrambling and then driving out of the fire station. We don't see like a lot of these are staged, but they're just like people doing stuff and like, hey, we're bowling or we're doing whatever. And instead, this is like I felt like it was purposeful, which was kind of neat.
Yeah.
So I think there's other things you could do like that too, where we saw the Tesla factory. Right, where we went through the Tesla factory. I could see some version of that where you're going through and following things through a factory floor with FPV, and I think there's other ways you could do cool oneers like that. And I think this is, neat stuff.
It makes me think, I mean, you see real estate oneers and the focus has to be the house because you're trying to sell the house. But would it be better if they had a narrative? Would it be better if you had like, the housewife in the kitchen cooking dinner, chopping vegetables or something, and you fly past and the kids are in the den, watching the TV or, I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot,
Everybody jumps
do
in
you?
the pool or something. Yeah. I think that would be definitely differentiating for somebody doing real estate shots for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
It feels like a home and garden ad or something.
Yeah. So it's so interesting. The creative process is so interesting. It's when you first start, the only thing you're thinking about is flying the drone. And then eventually you get to a point where you're good at flying the drone and you start thinking about other things. It's like when you first start making YouTube videos, the only thing you think about is I'm going to sit down in front of the camera and make a video. And then the more you get into it, the more you think about the rest of the production, the preparation, the thinking about the audience, and so on and so on. And there's just so much more to it. Very nice work from Lumera Productions Ariel. Thank you for submitting that. Now we come to my favorite part of the week, the super chats. That's where you guys pay money to make me say things. I don't think people realize, because in the news we don't get a lot of super chats because people are like, usually people queue and they ask questions and they leave them money with the super chat, so I'll answer the questions. Super chats are just a way for you to make me say things, and I'm not saying I'll literally read anything you put in a super chat, so don't push it. But like sometimes people ask me, "Hey Bardwell, how do I get you to like shout out my company? Like, what would it take for you to?" And I'm like, "Well, look, the simplest thing to do would be just buy a super chat, and I'll just say whatever you put in the super chat, and I'll shout you out." People missing opportunities here.
Super chats and large donations on social media can definitely push your content somewhere. I mean, I don't know if I don't want to tangent too much, but if you've seen Ludwig's video, Ludwig made a video asking if he could make a new YouTube channel and then get a bunch of views on just a new YouTube video. And the way he was able to do it was he made a video about Mizkif and then went on Mizkif's stream when he was watching people's submitted content and submitted that video as though he was just a random person. And then he got it to be watched on stream and then everybody spammed it on stream. And then that kicked it in the YouTube algorithm and he got a ton of views and subscribers.
Nice.
Yeah.
So here I go. We already got the super chat from Matt Sanders for $50. Thank you, Matt Sanders, again for your generosity. Christian K, thank you for 179 TBH. I think I looked this up already. Ty Bot. Thank you for 179 Ty Bot. He asks, I got a new drone and my OSD is not aligned. How can you solve it? It's all to the left of the screen in beta flight. Christian K, what's going on is you have high definition OSD enabled in your goggles, but you don't have high definition OSD enabled in your flight controller. That would cause what you're seeing. There are a couple other little things that could cause it, but what I'm going to advise you to do is email me, jb@joshuabardwell.com, and I will try to walk you through the solution. That's the short version, the super chat version of what your problem is. You have a mismatch between high definition and non-high definition OSD. So you're getting like a 4:3 standard definition OSD clustered on the side of a high definition canvas. Brian Lewis, thanks for a $10 super chat. The Clips channel is awesome for when I miss the full streams. Thank you, Blunty. Thanks for all you both do to keep us informed. Yeah, thank you, Blunty. Yeah, you do a lot. You're really an essential part of my sort of thing with the live stream clips and now helping on the live streams and doing the news.
Yeah. Well, happy to do it. Excited to. I enjoy this stuff, so yeah, happy to do it.
Awesome. Fabio's going back and forth with Guillermo in the car. Fabio, don't take Guillermo seriously. He's a wacky dude. I don't know what they're going back and forth about. Guillermo Nespolo, do you remember when I had that little 10-second intro at the beginning of every one of my videos with the music? I eventually moved away from that because I decided that wasn't the best use of my viewers' attention. But Guillermo Nespolo made that for me. Black Jungle, thank you for 220 reais. I'm not falling for that again, Black Jungle. I don't remember what that phrase actually translates to, or it's not it's a phonetic saying that makes it sounds like something funny. I don't remember, but you did that to me once before, and I'm not doing it again. Thank you for your donation. You just give me not for 220 reais. That's for damn sure. It's conversion rate reais to USD.
Waiting on somebody to ask about SawCon.
What's that?
I was waiting on somebody to ask when you were going to SawCon.
D's nuts. That's good. SawCon. That's good.
Yeah.
You ever hear about in Diablo 4? In Diablo 4, they got this new creature. It's a Mind Goblin. Do you know about Mind Goblin? You have to say it.
No.
Mind Goblin these nuts. I was hoping I would get you. He speaks Italian? Shut up. Guillermo Nespolo, I guess he speaks Italian. Fine. Omo P3 Playston, whatever. Thank you for $5 super chat. Will you shout out my MEPSKING motors, but make it positive, please? I'm positive that MEPSKING's contract is a load of shit. How many hours you got on Diablo 4, Blunty?
Like 40 or 50. The end game sucks. Seasons will be better, but the end game is garbage. So.
What happens at the end game? Why is it garbage?
It's because there's no new content. Like essentially, they just make you do the same content forever, and then they add a couple modifiers on the dungeons, and that's literally what you have to do for the whole game. And then you're spending like 100 hours or something to get to level 100 to grind incremental differences in gear, and there's no new content to do with it. It makes no sense, really. And then seasons it will be a new character, so there's no point. Yeah.
Interesting. So I played Diablo 1 way back when, and I remember gleeful nights at 3 a.m. with my buddy on a LAN. He had a LAN set up at his house, so we'd get on Diablo and we would just start and we'd raid the dungeon. We'd go down and we'd kill Diablo and then high five each other, and it was no new content, but we're trying to raid, we're trying to get better gear, and Diablo leveled up, so it was still a challenge. It was still a chance that he could kill you if you weren't careful. So when you say I'm playing Diablo and it's just recycled content, I'm like, isn't that kind of how Diablo goes?
Yes, but how do I put this? If you were playing, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it without just saying it and having to explain it. Essentially, the idea is that if they artificially stopped the level at 50 or something, and it only took you 40 or 50 hours to get there, and then you could grind gear and get incremental upgrades and do all these fun things in the same content, great. But instead, they've added 2 tiers of nothing and another 100 hours of nothing to get to the top level, to then grind again for this gear that has these incremental upgrades, and then there's nothing to do with it. Like, to me, there should be, tier 3 should have X new mechanic that has new things that you do, and then tier 4 should have X another new mechanic that has other new things that you do, and new ways to grind, and new ways to, like, let me sacrifice a piece of gear to possibly upgrade it. You know what I mean? Like, there's different things you could do that are not done in the game, and it feels very grindy and generic.
I wonder if this is a generational thing, because back when Diablo 1 first came out, the idea of like random loot drops, like Diablo 1 wasn't the first to do, like, you could go back to NetHack and Rogue and those old games, which had the idea of randomly generated dungeons that you go into, and permadeath, although Diablo didn't force permadeath. But the idea, I remember Diablo 1 being very innovative in that you would grind, you would try to level up, and the whole point of the grind was to get better stats, better armor, whatever. There were no new mechanics introduced, though, but the new mechanic was the random loot drops, which was very novel at the time.
Right.
And I think what you're saying now is that that's not enough. I don't want to grind for 50 levels to get, +2 this or +3 that.
But I have to grind for 50 levels to get the chance. That's what I'm saying. Like, if in Diablo, how long does it take you to get there to start getting gear? I mean, that's my problem. I'm 50 hours in and I can't even grind for the gear yet. I have to spend another 30 to 50 hours
What do you mean
leveling.
you can't grind for the gear?
All the gear will be useless in 50 hours. Because I've got to get to level 100 so that I can get the good gear. And then I can grind the good gear.
You can't even get the good gear till you're level 100?
Correct, or 82 or 85.
Or, so the gear is tiered, and once you can't get the best gear till you level, so you have to grind to level, and then once you're leveled, you have to
hours.
Yeah.
So
I'm guessing that if you buy the season pass or whatever, then it gets accelerated.
That will be. There's not a season yet, but yes, in season 1 there will be XP on the season pass. That's correct.
So again, it's a place where raw capitalism has ruined games. For
every
everyone.
game, yes.
And I saw a video essay recently. I forget who it was by, but basically it was about monetization of games, and they said the amount of money you can make, like Witcher 3, like great game, no shitty monetization, just a great solid game. The amount of money, and then you've got like FIFA 2023 or 20 whatever, which has all the random loot box mechanics, and they make $700 billion. And they're like, well, that's it. We're just going to get loot boxes forever, because who could turn down 700 or whatever? It's not literally $700 billion. Like, no one's going to turn that down.
Companies with investors and bottom lines are all the people who are making these games, and unfortunately those decisions will continue to be made by these double and AAA studios. So
yep.
Sad but true.
Sad but true. Alrighty, well, there you go. Just a couple more super chats before we get to It's Barely News. Thanks for that little Diablo. I always like talking video games with you, so when I saw somebody mention it, I was like, oh no, we're doing this. MC Creations, thanks for 550 Brazilian reais. Can I send a shout out for Ed from Experimental Airlines? I'm going to build one of his airplanes soon. Absolutely. Ed from Experimental Airlines, you better get MC's Creations something good. And Brian M, thanks for a $5 super chat. Is it safe to swap TX Antenna 1 and RX Antenna 3 on the Dominator goggles so the TX antenna is front facing? It better be safe, because I did it a year ago, and it's been, it's fine. Just totally, you could totally do that. Just make sure they stay connected when you put everything back together. Okay, let's get to It's Barely News.
Yeah, and this is another It's Barely News where we've only got a couple stories. So the first one is something pretty cool. I've seen before, I think, in the past, but I'm not sure I remember where.
I've done this.
Okay, gotcha.
I thought it was I know it was with Rotor Riot. I guess it might not have been an episode, because this is a hoot. This should be a thing.
Yeah, they seem to be having a lot of fun and, basically attempting to do it as fast as they can and accurately break them up and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be kind of neat to see this at events, like have people, compete to try to pop all the balloons as fast.
I think we called it balloon skeet shooting. I don't know if this... Yep, here it is. Here it is. I knew we'd done this. I just didn't know if it was an episode. I may not have been in this
30
episode.
grams. How many?
I may not have been a cast member at the time. So, yeah, you release the balloons, and then you go try and pop them before they get away from you, and it's a freaking hoot. I was here this day, but I don't think I was in the episode.
Why didn't this become a thing, I wonder?
I don't know. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's
it seems
hilarious.
Like a blast. And also, it's kind of like always different, and the wind and stuff affects it. And I don't know.
Oh, there's Buck Grinder. Yeah, it's a hoot. It's a lot of fun. It's way harder than you think. Like, you're like, what do you mean? I'll just go pop those balloons. It's way harder than you think to hit the balloon. The balloon is moving erratically. The wind is blowing it. You're going umpteen zillion miles an hour. It is way harder than you think. See?
Imagine this is probably pretty good practice at like flying, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just in general, especially for somebody who doesn't know like why, you know, like to get out there and go fly, just throw some balloons up there.
Then eventually the balloons get away from you and you can't get them anymore.
Right.
Some people in the comments were a little annoyed. They were like, are they biodegradable balloons? You're leaving plastic in the environment. I have bad news for you. There's no such thing as a biodegradable balloon. There are things that are sold as biodegradable balloons. That it's a lie. So, okay. One more.
And last, we've got a YouTube video from GoPro, which goes behind the scenes with a couple FPV pilots, talking about their experiences and why they do what they do and how they use GoPro to do it. And I thought it was pretty cool that we could at least share that this came out. One of them is Jay's Birds Films, which we saw from that original bowling video, the one shot, one take. And yeah, he just discusses some of the ways he does shots and how he uses GoPro and stuff. So kind of neat.
Very tasteful stabilization. Very nice. Not too much. Just enough. Very nice work. Whoa! I don't like that shot at all. I don't approve of that shot. I didn't need that. All right. Great. Great. Ultra wide 360
Cool.
cam. That's going to do it, folks, for the news today. We will not be back next week.
Correct. No Q&As and no FPV news next week. We'll be back the following week.
Yep. Because
And
I
we will be here on July 4th.
Yeah.
That's the plan anyway.
I'm not going on vacation. I have another a work trip. I miss the live streams though. I took a lot of work trips in June, but what can you do?
Yeah.
I know. Well, you'll have to do. I just don't think I could do this show from a hotel room.
So I don't want to put you out, but you said you mentioned you might try a Saturday stream alone. Is that a thing you're going to
Yes, it's possible. I'm not sure how many people would show up on Saturday because I'm leaving Sunday. I'm not sure how many people would show up on Saturday if I did a stream not at my normal time.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. Next week is MultiGP IO anyway. Everyone's going to be there. Literally everyone. So
All right.
I won't be there. I'm going to be working.
I won't be there either.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, man. We will see you guys in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. We'll see you
All right.
then. Take it easy.